Urinary system. Let's start with the function as always. What is the function or functions of the urinary system? Let's start with remove toxins and drugs from the blood, from the body, like antibiotics, for example, for the drugs. Also, it excretes, get rid of the nitrogenous waste from the body. Where can the nitrogenous waste come from? Or what are those? One of them, the uric acid that comes from breaking down DNA. The other one is creatinine. This is one of the end products of the muscle metabolism. Urea and ammonia are also nitrogenous waste that they come from protein or amino acids breaking down. That happens, for example, in the liver when amino acid is used for gaining energy for the body. Maintains electrolytes in the blood such as the sodium ions, potassium ions, chlorine ions, protons, and bicarbonate ions. Maintains normal blood pH 7.35 through 7.45, as well as controls fluid balance in the body. If it's too much, get rid of it. If it's not too much, well, conserve it. Overall, the function of the urinary system, it filters blood in order to maintain homeostasis in an organism. If it doesn't function, well, the homeostasis will fail in the organism, and that can be fatal or will eventually lead to death, very short if somebody's urinary system does not work. Now, organs of the urinary system. I gave you guys, or you can download the pictures from Blackboard, where I gave you at the end of the previous class the picture. Please paste it, and we are going to work on that picture, identifying the organs and list their functions. So the coloring the kidneys to organs. And if you see their functions is, let's go with their function. Filters blood and they continuously form urine. They locate at the dorsal body wall at the back. And if you notice, one of them, the right kidney, is a little bit lower than the left kidney. So a little bit lower, and the left is superior a little bit. Now, this is because of the liver is pushing down the right side. The kidneys are covered by three structures. The innermost is the fibrous renal capsule. That it's all around. It's very tightly attached to the surface of the kidney and very transparent. I just use a brown color for that. Moving exteriorly, it's the perirenal fat capsule. It's a fatty tissue that keeps the kidneys in place. They are also covering the adrenal gland at the top. And the third one is the fibrous renal fascia. This is going to be blue color all around. And these two last one, the renal fat capsule and the fascia, they anchoring the organ. They keep the kidneys at the right place. If weight loss happens very fast, rapidly, the perirenal fat capsule will get less and the kidney drops inferiorly, both of them, and we call this, when they position a little bit inferiorly than they usually should be, That's ptosis. Why is that so bad? Because the ureter that leads the urine away from the kidneys will kink and will break, so the urine cannot flow continuously into the bladder. So the adrenal glands, they are at the top of the kidneys. They are not part of the urinary system. They are part of the endocrine system. The red one is going to be the descending aorta, and the descending aorta gives an artery to the kidney, and this is the left renal artery. We have a right one too, but now we are just focusing on here. Now the left renal artery and the renal arteries are entering medially through the hilum, and now the blue is the inferior vena cava, and also it gathers blood from the kidneys through the renal veins, and the renal veins are also, do you see that rectangle stuff? That's the hilum, the medial part of the kidney where the vessels are going in and out. So the renal vein drains the kidneys, not just only the right, the left too, but I didn't write it out. Now, this orange stuff is going to be the ureter that removes the urine through peristalsis motion along its tubes. And so that keeps the urine out from the kidneys. And the ureters get into the bladder. The bladder is a temperate storage place, a temporary storage place, and it contains a structure inside the trigone of the bladder. Trigone is where the three openings, the two ureters, get into the bladder, as well as the one urethra is leaving the opening, leaving the bladder. If you connect the openings, you will have a triangle. It's called the trigone. Now, the last part of the urinary system is the urethra that drains the bladder, and that's it, basically. So the organs are one pair of kidneys, two ureters, one from each kidney, one bladder, and one urethra. Contrasting actually the urethra, that the female urethra as with the male urethra. Female and male. Let's go over the female first. It's a short urethra, 4 centimeters, a little bit bigger than 1 inch, but less than 2. It has one function only, that transports urine to the outside of the body. The opening that leads the urine outside is the external urethral orifice, and this is anterior to the vagina, locates anteriorly. The male urethra is longer. It's 20 centimeters long. It's around 8 inches. Travels the entire length of the penis, and it contains 2 functions instead of 1. Conducts the urine from inside, from the bladder to the outside, as well as this is also the passage for semen ejaculation. The last topic is the voiding or micturition. I misspelled, so it's micturation. Micturate somebody, but micturition is the noun. But anyway, so here's the bladder that can contain 200 milliliters of fluid without feeling it. Now, in the urethra, we have the internal urethra sphincter proximal to the bladder, and distal from the bladder is the external urethral sphincter. The internal is involuntary, we cannot control. The external is voluntary, it's a skeletal muscle basically. So what happens? We have gathering the urine in the bladder. When it reaches 200 milliliters around, it starts to stretch the wall of the bladder, the stretch receptor signaling into the central nervous system, where the reflex happens and the bladder starts to contract, and also the pressure inside the bladder increases, so the internal sphincter let it go. So you will feel the I got to go, really, but up till 200 milliliters additional can be stored in the bladder when somebody really extensively want to just go. So lack of control is the incontinence that happens. They cannot control the voluntary skeletal muscle, the external urethral sphincter. So it's 2 years old, less than 2 years, spinal cord injury or other pathological causes can cause it.